Hi, this is Algebra 1, Module 5, Lesson 7. Get to the point. Carlos and Clarita are still working on their business. They need to clean a storage shed where they plan to board pets. They've decided to hire a company to clean the windows. After collecting the following information, they have come to you for help deciding which window cleaning company they should hire. So, Sunshine Window Cleaners charges 50 for each service call plus 10 per window. Painless Window Cleaners charges 25 for each service call and 15 per window. Which company would you recommend and why? So prepare an argument to convince Carlos and Clarita that your recommendation is reasonable. It's very convincing if you can support your claim in multiple ways. How might you support your recommendation using a table, a graph, and algebra? Let's start with I'm going to start with an equation because I like to work with equations. So first, let's figure out 50 for each service call plus 10 per window. So to me, that looks like a y equals $50 for them to show up plus 10 every window or x they are going to do, right? So that's this one's equation. Let's do this guy. So down here, painless, they do 25. Oh, y equals 25 for each service call plus, can't see because my stuff's only 15 per window. All right, so I have two different equations here. So let's see, it says a table. So I'm going to scroll down and make a table down here. All right. So if we have number of windows, and then we have sunshine, and then we have, oh, we better put our quotes, painless. Okay, so if I have 0 windows, I'm going to go back up here and grab my equations. I'm a little lower, bring them down here. Okay, so this was sunshine, and this was painless. So if I have no windows, no matter what, 50 just to show up, right? Just to have them come up. Painless is 25. But if I have one window, he's going to be $60, right? 50 for showing up plus 10 for the window. Painless is going to be 25 plus 15, which is 40. Okay, so far painless is good. Windows, if I do 2, then this one's going to be 70. It's going to be another $10 on here. This one will be another 15. So now I'm looking at $55. This one for 3. And we're just going to, it's another 10. This one's another 15. So now we're up to 70. Oh, painless is starting to get a little closer. 4 windows. Let's scroll down here a little bit so we can see better. Another 10 is 90. Another 15 is 85. Notice we're closing the gap here as we get to this. So now we're at 100. 85 plus 15 is 100. So at 5 windows, looks like we're the same because now we're at 110, right? Because that's only 10, but this guy is going to be 115. And if we do 7, we'll do one more here. Then we have 120, and now we're up to 130. So if we were to do our X windows, then we get what we have above, 50 plus 10x, right? Our equation. And this one will be 25 plus 15x. Okay, so it looks like when I'm doing this, right here, so 5 windows, it doesn't matter. Less than 5, you want painless, but more than 5, you would want sunshine. So let's see if our graph also matches this. So let's make a graph. And this one is still on number 1, right? Okay, so we had do, do, do. X was the number of windows. This was the cost. And so we had it going up to 130, didn't we? So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So if I go by tens, I can get up to 200. I think that'll work. Okay, let's do that. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this would be 100, 150, and 200. And we'll just go by ones down here. 1, 2, 3. Actually, we'll skip every other one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because we didn't even get up to 10 windows. So for our first one, we had a y-intercept of 50, right? Because it was 50, and then it was $10 for every window. So our first window would have been 60, then 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. Okay, going across this way. Our other one had a y-intercept of 25, so it's been right here. But it was going up 15 each time. So another 15 would be half boxes. Another 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, getting really close. 1.5, that should be about right, right? 5 windows was $100. I go up 1.5, a little bit more. 1.5 puts me a hole above. Okay. Boom, right there. So again, this shows kind of our thing. If we want less than 5, we need to do painless. If we are going to do more than 5, then sunshine is cheaper. Just confirms what we figured out before. So now we've done table, we've done graph, algebra. What does algebra look like? So if we do the algebra one, what that means is I'm going to take my two equations and solve them for each other. Let's see, where's a good spot to do that? Not a whole lot of room up here, is there? We'll have to go down here. All right. So we want to know, when does 50 plus 10x equal 25 plus 15x? Well, first step is going to be, I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides, and I'm going to subtract 10x from both sides. So over here, the 25s cancel. Over here, the 10s cancel. Leaves me with 25 equals 5x. I divide both sides by 5. They're the same price at 5 windows. Okay, so final answer for this, I'm going to put up here. If you clean less than 5 windows, go with painless. Clean more than 5 windows, go with sunshine. Oh, try it again. Okay, going back to the end. You Both cost same for 5 windows. Okay, so that's how that's the advice we're going to give. All right, your presentation to Carlos reminds him of something he's been thinking about, how to find coordinates of the points where the boundary lines and the pet sitter constraints intersect. He'd like to do this algebraically since he thinks guessing the coordinates from a graph, excuse me, might be less accurate. Let's write the equations for the following two constraints, and then we'll figure out where they combine, where they match algebraically. So if we remember, I'll do these guys in green. So the space one, the cats took up 6 square feet, the dogs took up 24, and they had a total of 360, right? Oh, equals 60. Okay, so the startup cost then, that was the money. So it's 32 for each cat pen and 80 for each dog run, and they had 1280 to spend. So now we're going to work through these two algebraically. So 6c plus 24d equals 360. Oh, right, equals 360. So we need to translate this. Oh, we can't make them equal yet because they don't equal the same thing, do they? First, we got to put it into the d equals form. So if you remember doing this from, it was one of the earlier lessons, we ended up with d equals negative 1/4 c plus 15. And then the startup costs ended up being d equals negative 2/5 c plus 16. That is not very good. 16. So now they're both a d equals, so I can make them equal to each other. So negative 1/4 c plus 15 equals 2/5, negative 2/5 c plus 16. So now I can simplify. I can subtract 15 from both sides. That'll cancel those out. So if I'm canceling out the left side's numbers, I want to add 2/5 c to both sides. So those two cancel out. So 1/4 plus 2/5. Well, I got to find my common denominator. And so that means I need to multiply this one by 5. So I'm going to have negative 5/4 c plus times 4 is not 5/4, 5/20 plus 8/20. So now I've got 3/20 c equals 1, right? Yes. So to get rid of my 3/20, I have to multiply by 20 over 3 to get those to cancel, times 20 over 3. And so c equals 20 over 3, or 6 2/3. So when I have 6 2/3 cats, this works. Well, that only helps me if I need to know dogs too. So dogs then, I'm going to substitute in. So here's my dogs. I'm just going to go ahead and do the negative 1/4 c. So negative 1/4 times, I'm going to do the 20 over 3, because that's going to be easier to multiply fractions for this point, plus 15, right? Just filling in my 6 2/3 for c. Well, that's 20 over, erase, negative 20 over 12. Actually, let's cancel. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to run out of space for this. Those two cancel. I get a 5 and a 1. So that actually means negative 5/3 plus 15, which is 1 1/3. If I have a negative 1 1/3, then 15 minus 1 is 14. 14 minus 1/3 is 13 2/3. So D equals 13 2/3. So not really great numbers, but those are where they intersect. Whether it makes sense or not in this case, that's where they cross. So now we need to find the point of intersection for feeding time and pampering time. Well, feeding time, I believe it took them 12 minutes to feed the cats and 20 minutes to feed the dogs, and that equals 480. And this one was 16 minutes to pamper the cats plus 20 minutes to play with the dogs, and that also equaled 480. Well, good news here is I can actually make these equal to each other because they both equal 480. So if I have 12C plus 20D equals 16C plus 20D, then um, I can subtract 20D, subtract 20D, and those cancel. 12C equals 16C. Well, the only way I can get 12 times a number to equal 16 times that same number is if C equals 0. So in this case, C has to equal 0. So then when I plug in 0 for either one of these over here, I have 20 times something gets me 480, right? Either one, it doesn't really matter. Well, 20 times 24 equals 480. So D has to equal 24. So where those are equal is if I just have 24 dogs. And that's kind of how we work those algebraically. So that's all we have for today on this one, I believe. Yep. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.